Hello, my great and wonderful people. We welcome you all once again to our today's episode of this program. Now, we, the Nation Voice, the voice where they review the secrets when they say the government and the politician that they say the cover. And today we get this news for our table when it does say Garba Shehu said they don't deny access to enter villa or because of say he attend Abba Kyàri burial. And the reason they thought say maybe he don't use the hand collect one or two things when he be say he dey keep people they go. And this one of the news when he be say he reach our table April 18th, 2020. And before we go properly to the details of this news, in case today not the first time when you be say they hear about us on the channel be this, we say you are highly welcome. I bet do us a favor now. You see that red subscribe button, press some, and the small bell with the near. Press them as well so that anytime we take upload new video again, you know what they suffer to look for them. It will only come to you like a message. Our prayer always be said. The same way when we be said, they support us on the channel. Now the same way when God will the same people, when will they support you for everything when it's good, when you put your hands to do. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right, my people, may we go straight to the details of this news. And as we put our hand there for answer this matter, the comic us understand say President Muhammadu Buhari senior special assistant for media and publicity when he be say in name na Garba Shehu and many other aides to president say they deny the access to the presidential villa for Abuja when he be say they violate NCDC guideline after they be say they don't attend the burial of the late chief of staff to president when in name na Mala Abba Kyàri. Where e be say the report say people when e be say he attend the burial say na plenty people and most of the people say they no wear face mask or even hand glove for protection against this coronavirus. And still on top of the matter, the court say this very action so say it violates the social distancing rule when it be say the place by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. And it can't expose the people when it be say he attend this very burial, including the presidential aides, to the risk when it be say they will fit contract this very high, dangerous and deadly disease when it be say he claimed the life of Abba Kyàri. And because of this one, the court say some people when they work follow president, when they see they call presidential aides, say they can't deny the access when it can't be say they not confident enter Aso Villa according to Sahara. And again, the court say among these people na be State House Chief Protocol Officer when in name na Ambassador Lawan Kazwari. And again, Special Assistant to the President when in name na Yusuf Sabiu. Again, a nephew to the President when he be say in name na Musa Haru Daura. And also Senior Special Assistant for media and publicity when it be say in name na Garba Shehu. And also the constitution say other people when they still follow the people when they don't mention before na be National Security Advisor when in name na Babagana Mugunu. Also Director General for National Intelligence Agency when in name na Mr. Ama Rufai. And also Personal Assistant for New Media to President Buhari when in name na Bashar Ahmed, and even many other persons. And still on top of the matter, the court say security personnel for Villa say it turned back the aides for President Muhammadu Buhari after he be say they don't attend the burial ceremony for Malam Kyàri. And not be only that one, say they come in contact with so many persons for inside the place, and also they go against the rules for National Center for Disease Control. And also the court say President Muhammadu Buhari say he not dey happy when he be say the aides state decide to violate the clear protocol and guidelines for National Center for Disease Control. And because of that, he can't give orders say may they keep them away from presidential villa, say may they undergo self-isolation. All right, my great and wonderful people. Now the news when be say we receive from the presidential villa when the President Muhammadu Buhari take give order say everybody when he attend the kyàri burial say make they not enter the villa, or because of say maybe they don't use body carry one or two things come. Which is to say, the man for Aso Rocky the fear say make he not see, make them not give a leak. Nah, my people make una not vex say and they laugh, because it dey funny. Say the people when they go the bury, I say make them not enter the house. So he no one make body touch body. But one thing when we want try to talk pass be say who go. Hey, Papa no know mama again, mama no want no pikin. So now the situation now it be this one. What a coronavirus when they be say not get respect for Papa and mama, not get respect for the rich and the poor. All right, my people. Now the situation now it be that one. So the one when the day for villa now say the man now don't evacuate everybody around and say one time. Me I believe it because for the burial since when we say we don't publish news, we not even see a Lai Mohammed for the junction. We not even still see this man. Many of them even at this now we not still see them for the junction. I believe. Hey, what? People be gonna love us. So as kyàri dey important reach for that Aso Villa. So Koro don't make them say make them leave kyàri. Me say make it roti for streets. Now wow. Now I be say Abba Kyàri say now it be the leg and the hand for Aso Villa. So why it can't be say that you're denying for Koro? Because of Koro say may nobody attend the burial, nobody for inside villa, not even the first lady self. Aisha not even go. Adesina not go. Lai Mohammed not go. You people who not the fear. Oh, Corona oga. All right, my people, make una, I go leave una now, make una share una opinion with me because we not really get much to talk. I say we still inform una the situation when it be say the day for Aso Villa for the now say nobody did the seat now. So Baba don't say may nobody dey near her because he don't know who be who. Yes, this one a situation of who. Who now the day for Aso Rock now, so anytime can be 6 o'clock. All right, so I beg make una try share una opinion with us on the comment section as I leave una now make una watch this video and I will come back for the conclusion.
Ignorance is an industry, big industry. And there are those who want Africa to continue to wallow in poverty and to wallow in ignorance because it is their safest bet to their continued benefit. The day we wake up to that reality, the safer we are. That is why the English had this beautiful saying, let sleeping dogs lie. So we are sleeping and we are being allowed to lie. And we are being hypnotized into even greater sleep and slumber, to dream even further. But I'm telling us, if Africa is to realize our dream, we must wake up. If Africa is to win the lottery, we must buy the lottery ticket. Why are we ring fencing 30%? Let us ring fence 70%. It can't be done because it is a question of cross-fertilization of ideas. We must learn from other civilizations, but learning must not mean surrendering to them. I'm submitting to us that we surrender to them. And going forward, therefore, you who are present here, we must think of another Africa. An Africa where when we talk about technology, whether it is in solar technology today, Morocco, and I stand to be corrected, is engaged in developing one of the largest solar farms anywhere in the world. I'm still talking about consulting engineers even in that field. Kenya is doing another major solar project, and all African countries ought to be engaged in it. Namibia, I think, is also engaged in it. But if you ask who the consulting engineers are for those projects, they are not Africans. Even the solar panels that are going to be used, the best that African countries will do is to assemble them. They'll be brought as completely knocked down kits, and ours is to assemble them as our children assemble Lego. We are talking about water and water, which is an important thing, and water engineering. And we have consulting engineers in that regard. Even when we talk about water engineering and the drilling equipment, I know of no African country that makes water drilling equipment. Perhaps South Africa. South Africans correct me. When we are talking about road infrastructure, I know that sometimes even when we are doing the roads, even the one here, the Kampala and Entebbe Expressway, the contractors, under the guise of something that they now call design and build, will even import steel from their countries, saying that ours has too much carbon content. Sometimes even cement is imported because ours is claimed not to have certain ingredients. I'm still talking about consulting engineers. When we are doing our railways, we may celebrate them all we want, but when we receive the wagons, they are rehabilitated engines that belong to the museums alongside the spinning wheel. I'm submitting to us that the consulting engineer is important to Africa's growth and development. You cannot deny that. And I can see the vision. I can see what the African leaders were thinking about when they met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and came up with Agenda 2063. They were looking at the engineer and they were saying that the engineer, well, if he is a civil engineer, let him be an African civil engineer who is aware of the African terrain. Let him be an engineer who is equipped with what he or she needs to grow Africa, so that when he or she is engaged in designing and ultimately presiding over the building of African roads, he knows his or her continent. That is what they were thinking. So that when they are building this road across the continent, the equatorial forest of Congo, they are building and they are empowering other African engineers. I saw them thinking about that. They must have been thinking about hydroelectric power, and they were thinking about generating power from the nearly 1,270 hydroelectric power stations that we have built. They were thinking of geothermal, and they were thinking of consulting engineers who have African experience and know Africa and relate with other civilizations in a manner that is beneficial to Africa. They must have been thinking like that. When they were thinking about fuel, fossil fuel, and they were thinking about the pipeline, they must have been thinking about chemical engineers and other related engineers who would be doing things for the benefit of Africa. They were thinking about aeronautical engineers that would be capable not only of ensuring that the planes that are made in Europe and America fly, but who are moving progressively to ensuring that even Africa can produce an aircraft. The Brazilians have done it in our lifetime. But today, that is not the truth. So, fellow engineers, If I've dampened your spirit, that was my intention. Because it is those dampened spirits that are capable of providing a fertile ground for the fruit of growth to germinate. This continent is capable of achieving much. Africa today has a population of 1.1 billion. We are 55 countries, and all the 55 countries, our economy is only as big as that of India. We can do better. And if we are going to do better, I have no doubt in my mind that you great minds that are gathered here, because the minds that are present here are some of the best minds that Africa can offer. Let it not be business as usual. Let it not be that you have expanded your firm to include the 100 engineers to do work that has been handed down to you by some European or Chinese firm. No. Let it be that you are also capable of doing things in your own right. You can do it. You must do it. Because if you don't do it, the thing that we call growth will never be realized. We'll have symbols of what we describe as growth, but Africa will never grow. We'll have things that appear to represent growth, but Africa will never have grown. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to remind you and to remind myself that if Africa is to realize our potential in the world of infrastructure, because as the Vice President rightly said, if you have infrastructure, it has an impact on agriculture, it has an impact on mining, it has an impact on the health sector, it has an impact in every other sector in our economies. It can be done. It must be done. And you are the ones who are going to do it. And remember that the world is not very kind. All of us know. Every other person in every other part of the world is trying to ensure that they are at the top of the food chain. Where is Africa in the food chain? Are we at the bottom of the food chain, or we are at the top of the food chain? I am saying we are at the bottom, and going forward we must fight our way to ensure that we are beginning to talk about things like nanotechnology. What are we teaching in our universities? Most of our universities, faculties of engineering have equipment that were used in Europe during the industrial age. I'm saying this rather melodramatically, but I'm making my point. We must change. There must be a linkage between the practicing consulting engineer and the universities. There must be a linkage between that and industry. It cannot be right that in this day and age, that linkage is not there. And I believe that under the aegis of Gamma and FIDIC, it can be done, and that deliberate efforts are going to be made to ensure that we move in that positive direction so that Agenda 2063 is realized and the promises under the Sustainable Development Goals are also realized. I want to conclude with this. Have you realized that several years ago we had something called the Millennium Development Goals? They were never achieved. So we have renamed them Sustainable Development Goals. And there are more now. So the truth is, Africa must also define her own problems, and having defined her own problems, must also find solutions to her own problem. Do not be cheated. Do not be deluded that the world is full of benevolent individuals and institutions whose only claim to fame is that they want to lift Africa from the morass that she now finds herself in. The reality is, the poverty of Africa is the glory of some civilizations. Poverty is an industry. Ignorance is an industry. Big industry. And there are those who want Africa to continue to wallow in poverty and to wallow in ignorance because it is their safest bet to their continued benefit. The day we wake up to that reality, the safer we are. That is why the English had this beautiful saying, let sleeping dogs lie. So we are sleeping, and we are being allowed to lie. And we are being hypnotized into even greater sleep and slumber.